three-pointer. He has 8 points now to lead the Chicago Bulls. The score 17-10. The Bulls over the Hawks with about 5 minutes left in the first quarter. We'll go to that game right after the conclusion of overtime in Seattle. Let's get it back to Greg.
All right, thank you, Greg. And that's the story. 1:35 remaining in the first quarter. A red-hot shooting first quarter for Scottie Pippen. 13 points in all. Michael Jordan sitting down right now, receiving a rest. But Pippen, 4 of 6 from the field, 3 from downtown. The Atlanta Hawks off to a slow start, just 5 of 13. Mookie Blaylock with 7. Christian Laettner with 4. The Bulls, who came back so strong yesterday afternoon in game number 3 with the 20-point victory, knocking off the Hawks 100-80. Doing it in the second half by the count of 54-28. And, Matt, they have looked impressive once again in this first quarter.
And a big reason, Marv, is they're knocking down their perimeter shots, something they've had problems doing in the first quarters of the previous games. When those shots fall, everything seems to look better.
Randy Brown trying to feed Scottie Pippen, but stolen by Mookie Blaylock. Blaylock trying to use the screen from Mutombo. And Bennett Salvatore calling the foul. Offensive foul on Mutombo. Bennett Salvatore working today's game with Hugh Hollins, Joe DeRosa.
A look of disbelief on the face of Dikembe Mutombo, trying to set and reset, keeps moving around, trying to get a piece of Randy Brown, and it appeared there that Dikembe Mutombo had finally set himself. But what many times will happen, that guard with the ball will make his move too quickly, but it appeared that Mutombo was standing still.
Mutombo unhappy after picking up his second foul. Mutombo unhappy after yesterday's game. Strong statement afterwards. He said his teammates quit. Lenny Wilkins said that Dikembe may have been a bit over-dramatic as Caffey continues his good play, and the Bulls lead at 28-17. To this point, Dennis Rodman has not played only 7 minutes yesterday, and it was tough for him to remain on the floor. Picked up that technical foul. Once again, Caffey in the starting lineup. Here's Pippen leading the break. Pippen with a beautiful ball, sets it up for Kukoc, and he's put. Tony Kukoc, who helped turn things around yesterday with a terrific game. 6 of 12 from the field, 16 points.
Well, it was the whole supporting cast for the Chicago Bulls, as both Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen having tough shooting days. Big numbers from Tony Kukoc. Steve Kerr came up with a big 3 in the fourth quarter. An outstanding job for Jason Caffey, who started in place of Dennis Rodman, but did a pretty good imitation with 8 of his 11 rebounds at the offensive end.
And Judd Bushler checks in for the first time. Judd played only 9 minutes yesterday, did not show up in the stat sheet, but did a terrific job off the boards, keeping the ball alive on a number of occasions. We're down to 20 seconds remaining, first quarter. Smith putting the move on Bushler, and a foul. Bushler used the knee. Bulls over the limit. And Smith to the line. He's 3 of 4 at the foul line. Luke Longley has already picked up 2 fouls. He's on the bench. The same as you saw for Dikembe Mutombo. He has 2. A high point man, Scottie Pippen, with 13 points.
Well, at 6'8", Steve Smith, a very good post player, but that's been taken away a great deal by Scottie Pippen. Not the most mobile guy on defense, does not move his feet very well, so consequently, if you get him out on the open floor, you want to put the ball on the deck and try to beat him to the basket. The big adjustment that Chicago made yesterday was putting Pippen on Smith to take away his post game and his ability to get the foul line, and it worked.
That's an unbelievable stat. Steve Smith with no assists in 128 consecutive minutes and counting.
Doing his Yinka Dare imitation.
Kukoc forcing it up with the shot clock running down, and he also took a hit. We're down to 2 and 3/10 seconds remaining in this first quarter. Alan Henderson, who had just come on, is called for that low bridge foul. And Kukoc, firing from three-point territory, will have 3 free throws.
Well, you mentioned Steve Smith with no assists. Actually, during the regular season, Atlanta 28th in the 2019 league in assists. Detroit is dead last at 29, but the nature of their game is the guards do most of the shooting. Here's Tony Kukoc in his 3 games so far, really breaking out yesterday, making 2 big three-pointers in the fourth quarter.
And Kukoc 4 for 4 at the line in this first quarter. What a day in the NBA playoffs. Earlier, Knicks defeated Miami 77-73 to go up 2 games to 1. The Knicks came back from 12 down in the second quarter. And moments ago, as you saw in overtime, was Houston over Seattle. 110-106 on a clutch shot by the rookie Matt Maloney. 3 games to 1 lead for the Houston Rockets. Final seconds. Blaylock gets it off from center court. So, after 1, it's the Bulls 33 and the Hawks 19. A fast start for Scottie Pippen. 4 of 6 from the field. 13 points. There was much concern coming into yesterday's game 3 as to whether the Bulls were indeed back. Well, they demonstrated that they were yesterday with the rout, and they followed up with a strong first quarter performance. Michael Jordan finding the range on the jump shot. That's the play of the day for the Hawks by Dikembe Mutombo.
Well, Scottie Pippen came out with the idea of setting his game up with a perimeter shot, and it has worked so far. Mookie Blaylock, who was shut down effectively yesterday by Ron Harper, getting one there.
And a look at the leading scorers. Pippen with 13, Jordan 7, Blaylock with 7 points. Mookie Blaylock saying after the game yesterday that he had a number of open shots. He was very disappointed with his play after the good outings in games 1 and 2, and felt that he rushed shots, and that can certainly be said for many members of the Atlanta Hawks.
Well, he said he lost his rhythm and consequently lost his confidence, and really the Bulls took them out, being the Atlanta Hawks, took them out of their pick and roll game, which was so effective in the first 2 games of this series by trapping Blaylock, getting the ball out of his hands, and Ron Harper deserves a lot of credit there.
And Matt, as you are well aware, as always, we're joined on the sidelines by the Dean. Always an emotional moment to send it to Ahmad Rashad.
All right, thanks, Bob. I talked to Michael Jordan. He said the key yesterday to the win was everybody stepped up. I asked him to assess his play in the first 3 games of this series, and he said he's very proud about his defense and his rebounding, getting 11, 16, and then 9 yesterday. I said, what about your scoring? He said, well, I'm not too concerned about my scoring because over the years I've found that in order to win a championship, defense is what's important. Marv?
All right, thanks, Ahmad. Atlanta shot only 5 of 15 in the first quarter. The Bulls, 11 of 19. Good shooting first quarter for Chicago. Recapping this series. In game 1, the Bulls 100-97. They came from behind, led by Jordan, 34 points, 11 rebounds. Bulls did it in the third quarter. Game 2, the Hawks win 103-95. Mookie Blaylock on fire from three-point range, 8 of 9 from downtown. Atlanta shot 52% from the field. And yesterday here at the Omni in Game 3, the bench did the job. The supporting cast backing up the starting players, and the Bulls with a rout, turning it around in the second half. Dennis Rodman has checked in for the first time. Played only 7 minutes yesterday. 1 for 1 from the field, 3 rebounds, and a technical foul. Steve Kerr not able to hit as the second quarter gets underway.
And Dennis Rodman playing absolutely no minutes in the second half, but he was told by Phil Jackson at halftime that he would not play.
Henry James, who has the terrific outside shot. Henry James played for Len Wilkins in Cleveland. He's had some good moments during the course of the regular season. And Brian Williams stepped out of bounds. So the Bulls gained 5. Leitner beat the Bulls down court, but Jordan able to recover and came up with a block shot. Here the reaction, fans thought there should have been a foul. Here's Brian Williams And he was fouled. Foul committed by Henderson.
Well, the Chicago Bulls very slow in transition defense. That pass from Blaylock over the top as Leitner had a huge lead, but Michael Jordan hustling from behind and hit a lot of ball, but also I'm sure got a lot of body just by the reaction. Although Christian Leitner not making that big a fuss, it's coming more from head coach Lenny Wilkens and the sold-out crowd here at the Omni.
Brian Williams provided the Bulls with a major lift yesterday. 7 of 11, 14 points off the bench.
Michael Jordan and Steve Smith have been chatting with one another throughout the series. And Michael, who has been known to like to talk, has preferred not to talk to Steve Smith, instead trying to concentrate on just playing the game.
Bulls lead by 12. Blaylock and Smith in the backcourt. Henderson with James and Leitner on the front line. Smith posting up against Jordan. Rebound went through the hands of Rodman, but picked up by Jordan. 4-on-2 for the Bulls. Good recovery defensively by Atlanta.
And Dennis Rodman ran the floor extremely hard, just trying to make something happen. He looks like he wants to get into the flow and make a contribution.
Rebounded by Jordan. Michael Jordan with 9 points, and the Bulls now lead 36-22. Chicago hoping to take the series back to the United Center, up 3-1. The Hawks try to tie it up at 2 apiece with game number 5 in Chicago on Tuesday night. Illegal defense against Chicago for the second time, so it will lead to a technical foul.
Well, Dennis Rodman trying to get to the boards. His timing is way off. No lift there. Loses it, but does not fret about it. Just running the floor hard. And with Dikembe Mutombo out of the game, a lot more opportunities in and around the basket for second shots. And that's what got Dikembe up and off the bench and back into the game.
As Steve Smith shoots the technical for more on Dennis Rodman. Let's go to Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Marvin. You see, over the last few games, Dennis Rodman has worn an assortment of braces. He's not wearing one today. I talked to him before the game and said, for the first time, he feels fine. And as you can see, he's running very well and looks a lot better without that brace. So I think he's coming around on that injury. Marv?
All right, Ahmad. Yes, Bulls players have been upset with the lack of energy level that Rodman has shown. That does not seem to be the case to this point today. We'll be right back. Marv Albert with Matt Gukas and Ahmad Rashad. 2 minutes gone by in the second quarter. Game 4 of the East Semifinal series between Chicago and Atlanta. Scottie Pippen leading the way with 13 points. Michael Jordan with 9. Dennis Rodman is back on the floor. Dikembe Mutombo back on the floor, although he has 2 fouls. Mookie Blaylock putting the move on Steve Kerr, and then Kerr with the steal, but stepped out of bounds.
Well, I should say Christian Leitner getting a post-up opportunity, waiting for the double team instead of making a quick move. But Steve Kerr very active on the weak side, getting in that passing lane, but just couldn't control that foot stepping on the line.
Blaylock and Michael Jordan going to the board. That's his 5th rebound. Here's Brian Williams on the open floor beating Mookie Blaylock.
Now, this has been a problem for the Hawks in a number of the games so far. When they miss shots, they're kind of hanging their head right now. Ice cold from the field, just 6 for 19, but they can't worry about that. You have to get back on defense.
And Christian Leitner missed on the slam attempt.
Oh, Brian Williams, a terrific athlete who can get up and down the floor, has finally gotten into reasonably good shape after being out all season long with that knee injury before signing with Chicago.
Steve Kerr off the lead pass, and we are seeing the Chicago Bulls that we saw for the most part during the regular season. A 17-point lead with 3 minutes gone by in the second quarter. And a foul. Hugh Hollins, the outside official, with the call.
Well, the Hawks, normally a very good defensive team, have really gotten caught flat-footed, standing straight up. Nobody bending their knees, nobody anticipating. And I think they're hanging their head because they're not shooting the ball well. But the only way they can get back into this game is dig in defensively, get some runouts. I think they're trying to get too many different people scoring opportunities, whether it's the guards, Smith and Blaylock, or Mutombo or Leitner at the other end, and that's too many.
Foul was called on Kerr. The Hawks have hit only one for their last. Kukoc knocked it away, and a loose ball foul on James, who tried to get it back. It's been all Chicago. Well, you can log on to NBA.com and check out current NBA playoff leaders in 10 statistical categories, all updated through the previous day's games. So there's something new every day on NBA.com, the official website of the NBA. Eldred Kastner now pressing Michael Jordan. Atlanta Hawks 8 of 32 from the field in the second half yesterday. First half, 6 for 21. They cannot find the range. Meanwhile, the Bulls continue their charge shooting. Brian Williams now has 7. 42-23 Chicago.
And there have been times when Chicago has been reluctant to go to the basket. Not anymore. And Dikembe Mutombo is not scaring them one little bit.
Here's Kerr for three. Mutombo rebounds on a punch out of his hands by Williams, who goes diving into the Chicago bench. And a foul call. It is on Brian Williams, but good hustle by Williams.
And assistant coach Frank Hamblin at Brian's mercy there. Jimmy Rogers a little bit quicker of foot. He was able to get out of the way. But Brian Williams likes to go into the stands. You see the bench scoring advantage for Chicago, and Brian Williams has been a big part of that, and he'll get a breather.
Brian Williams signed as a free agent after Bill Weddington was injured. He averaged just under 16 a game for the Los Angeles Clippers last year. Sat out this season during the regular season. Sat out most of the way due to knee surgery and that contract dispute. And then signed on with Chicago. Here's Kastner. See, Dennis Rodman's timing is still off, and he's upset with himself. Not able to get to the ball. Henderson was able to score on the putback. Bulls lead 42-25. Jordan double team, gets it to Cook. He thought he was bumped. Couldn't believe there was no foul call.
Wow, when it drops about 10 feet short. I've seen air balls before, but not that short. Blaylock evidently hit him on the elbow.
Scottie Pippen is getting set to return, and a foul is called on Rodman. Rodman and Leitner got involved.
Well, there, Dennis Rodman just too slow to react to the shot. Couldn't get off the floor at all. That's where a lot of that frustration is coming from. A lot of it has been some of the stomach virus problems that he's had. And, of course, the knee injury that he has had. And Ahmad Rashad reporting earlier that Dennis has finally taken that knee brace off for good. Took it off in yesterday's game as well.
And they called a double foul. Leitner and Rodman were hit. 5 minutes gone by in the second quarter. Blaylock. Leitner with the rebound. It's only a second field goal. Bulls now lead 42-27. Scottie Pippen is back. Longley is back, playing with 2 fouls. Jordan putting moves on Kastner. Jordan lost the grip. And it will be Atlanta ball. But first a timeout with 6:35 remaining in this first half.
Back in Atlanta, and I am joined now by one of my main men, Nick Anderson. And Nick, you've played against both these teams, and you've also told me how easy a job this is to do this television stuff. So I'm going to give you a chance to maybe analyze this game a little bit. Well, I'll analyze it. The Bulls are just taking over, just plain and simple. There's no analyzing to it. They come out with the strong defense, shooting the ball well, playing aggressive, something they hadn't been doing, and even in the Washington series. And now this series, they're taking over. Yesterday they had a point to prove. They came out and made their point, and today they're making a statement, and they're making it early.
How does Atlanta get back into the game?
Well, they need to pressure the Bulls. Yeah, make them take some quick shots or something. But when number 23's got it going, it's hard to press him.
That was pretty good. You're making Matt a little bit nervous. Back to you, Mark.
All right, thanks, Ahmad. Nick Anderson of the Orlando Magic, who played for Matt Gukas in Orlando, native of Chicago. You saw the collision between Leitner and Rodman, and the foul was called on Leitner. Here's another look at it.
Well, the Hawks taking every opportunity to go at Dennis Rodman every chance they get, not respecting his defense very much. Nick Anderson all over what's been going on in this first half. And since the start of the second half yesterday, Mark, Atlanta being outscored 96-45 and shooting just 25%. That's unbelievable.
Now we'll see that scramble between Rodman and Leitner.
Well, at least Christian Leitner making a move and not waiting for a double team, but Dennis Rodman just timing it perfectly and taking that bump.
So 2 fouls apiece on Leitner and Rodman, and Pippen with another 3. That's his 4th three-pointer. 16 for Scottie Pippen. The Bulls 45, the Hawks 27. And again, involvement down low. Jordan, Smith, Rodman, Leitner, all there. It's on Rodman, so that's a quick 3rd personal on Rodman.
Well, there again, a double foul was called on those two a little earlier, and that, if the foul's going to be called, that probably should have been another double foul, but probably deserved no call. But there again, the scrutiny on Dennis Rodman as the officials watching every little move that he makes, and most of the calls are going to go against him because of his track record.
So the stat line, 6 minutes for Rodman, 3 fouls, 1 rebound. Leitner tried to save it, and he did. Apparently got a piece of Kukoc, and it deflected off him and out of bounds.
Tony Kukoc does not agree, arguing with referee Hugh Hollins, but Hugh Hollins felt it went off his thigh. Alan Henderson is an energy guy off the bench, and he does not mess around with the ball at all. His idea, once he gets it, he's going to shoot it just about every time he touches it, and he's going to take it right towards that rim.
Alan Henderson, a first-round draft pick out of Indiana last year. Had some health problems this season. And the foul on Jordan. That is his first.
Well, Dennis Rodman, after only 6 minutes, played 7 minutes yesterday, unable to hide the frustration. Yesterday, during the whole second half, he became a uncharacteristic cheerleader, was up off the bench on every big Bulls play and running out to greet his teammates as they would come to the bench on timeout. So he got into the swing of that, but there's no question he's a much more comfortable person when he's out on the floor playing his game. But right now, he's not anywhere near his game.
You can see the timing is still off. Although with Rodman on the floor, the Bulls did extend the 14-point lead to 18, so they did not get hurt. Bulls now lead 45-29. Coming up on 5 minutes remaining in this first half. Jordan able to slip away. Crowd was looking for a traveling violation, and Michael enjoyed that move.
Well, Michael's smiling because he didn't think that shot was going to go in. First of all, he was drifting to his right. It looked like the shot was going to go off on the right. But when you're hot, you're hot.
11 for Jordan. Henderson backing Pippen. And again, the Bulls collectively to the board, and Pippen and Henderson had words. And Pippen being ushered aside.
Well, you rarely see Scottie Pippen get into any kind of altercation with another player, but he felt that Alan Henderson, after this missed shot, in an attempt to go back up there, just pulled him down, which is what he did. And then the leg whip over the top. Good wrestling move by Alan Henderson.
Yes, you could understand Scottie Pippen's point of view. Henderson did drag him to the floor. 4 and a half remaining in the first half. Bulls have an 18-point lead. Ignited by the early shooting of Pippen. They double up on Jordan. Finds the open. Luke Longley. Well, the gamble didn't pay as Mutombo came up high to help out on Jordan, and it left Longley open.
And that's what started in yesterday's game. Draw Mutombo away from the basket, but the Bulls are having a tough time getting Longley to make that hard cut.
Mutombo on the recovery, and he was fouled.
Well, in a back-to-back situation, Michael Jordan looks very quick to me today, even on that last sequence defensively, moving very quick. But you see him drifting there. Looked like that shot was going to go up right. That's why the little smirk on his face. And then the pick and the roll as Dikembe Mutombo unable to bother Michael Jordan's vision. And what the Bulls keep telling Luke Longley, make that roll and hard cut to the rim and look to expect the pass. It's there because Dikembe Mutombo is not doing a good job on pick-and-roll defense away from the hoop.
Longley picked up his third, replaced by Brian Williams. Luke with 4 points. Mutombo a 71% free throw shooter. 49-31, Chicago. The Bulls seeking to make it a 3-1 lead in this best of 7. With Game 5 back in the Windy City on Tuesday night. Jordan putting on a series of moves and then concluding with an air ball.
And again, by Michael's reaction to the referee, apparently Steve Smith got a tip of the elbow. That shows some lazy defense on the part of the Hawks. Now, they got away with 2 of those. One on Kukoc earlier, but they're not really challenging shots. They got a little chippy trying to hit wrists and elbows.
Christian Laettner driving on Tony Kukoc and gets the call. Kukoc with his first.
Oh, Michael Jordan, you saw right there Steve Smith running by, and Michael Jordan right now smiling at Steve Smith like, now Steve Smith looking at me like he got away with one there. But that kind of defense you will not get away with very many times. The officials watch that very closely with jump shooters getting hit on the elbow.
And Henry James checks back in, replacing Dikembe Mutombo, leads with 5 points. Brian Williams will sit down. Robert Parrish making his first appearance of the weekend in Atlanta. Robert Parrish, 43 years old in his 21st NBA season. See these scores from earlier. The Knicks beating the Miami Heat at Madison Square Garden, 77-73. And in overtime, Houston defeating Seattle, 110-106 for a 3-1 lead. Michael Jordan right back and having a conversation with some fans and courtside. He claims he was hit once again. 13 points for Jordan. And the Bulls lead 51-32. Illegal defense for the 3rd time called on the Bulls.
Well, Michael has been having a lot of conversations, not with Steve Smith, but with a number of fans on courtside. This time, Michael wanting to go up with a shot, little fadeaway there, so Smith really couldn't get to him, figuring next time anything close, he's going to get the benefit of the call because he didn't over-argue on the last time that he was touched on the elbow.
Very few players who have that kind of control to entertain themselves with the game within the game. Larry Bird used to do it, and Michael Jordan has been a master of doing it. A look at Michael during the course of this series: 34, then 27. Did not shoot well yesterday at 21 points, but so instrumental in that turn by the Bulls in the 3rd quarter.
And that has really built the confidence for Chicago coming into this game 4.
Michael very active defensively, as you saw right there, going for the block on Henderson, although he did commit the foul, and Chicago calls for time.
Hey, you're seeing Michael Jordan so far 6 for 11 from the field. Started this game very perimeter-minded, taking jump shots, but then warmed up, slicing between the defenders, taking it right to Mutombo, hustling back on defense to swat another one away from Laettner, and then the pick and perfect roll to Luke Longley and the old North Carolina point, and the shot chart. 6 for 11 from the field. You see the perimeter shots. Michael now starting to think more, drive to the basket, showing no respect for Mutombo, and I think the Bulls are in that mode right now. They don't care if Mutombo blocks some shots. They feel confident that they can get some second opportunities.
So the Atlanta Hawks continue to have their problems offensively. This goes back to the second half yesterday afternoon. The Hawks' last field goal was 4 minutes ago. Atlanta, since yesterday, 16 of 61. That is unbelievable. 8 of 29 in the game today, and 8 of 32 in the second half yesterday when they were blown out by 20 points. Here's Jordan. And a loose ball foul on the Hawks. Foul on Smith. That is his second. It is a non-shooting foul. Down to 2:38 remaining in the first half. The Atlanta Hawks have not lost 2 straight at home all season. Hawks so successful here at the Omni, 36-5 during the regular season. Third best record in the league. Traveling violation.
And a good call. Michael knows it. Just a little look to you, Hollis. Apparently moved that left foot first. The catch, yep, a little skip with the left foot and go right. He'll get by his man every time when he does that.
Henderson banking Pippen. Leitner couldn't control. Henderson. Alan Henderson in traffic. Comes up with a second field goal. He has 6 points, and the Bulls lead by 14.
Well, there's no question that Alan Henderson is the most energetic of the Atlanta Hawks. Playing very hard at this moment. He's going to try to pick up his teammates.
Smith thought he had the shot, but Kukoc came outside. Leitner. And Steve Smith has come up with an assist. So that ends the drought. We'll get the official time.
I don't think he wanted to pass it. He was looking for his own shot, but Alan Henderson actually came across the lane, got in his way, set an inadvertent pick, and that forced Steve Smith to give up the ball.
First assist in the last 136 minutes. So his first assist of this series. Tires way off. We come up on a minute remaining in the first half. Smith for 3. Well, Steve Smith buoyed by the assist. Able to knock down the 3. And the Hawks in the midst of a run. Bulls now lead by 9. But the Bulls right back. Scottie Pippen with 18 points. Chicago is led by as many as 20, and they now lead 53-42. Down to 35 seconds in the half. Pippen with the steal. A soft pass thrown by Blaylock. Steve Kerr with his second bucket. He has 4, and the Bulls now lead by 13. We're down to 20 seconds remaining in the half.
Well, after that little flurry, 3 field goals in a row by the Atlanta Hawks, the drive by Pippen because of the absence of Mutombo, nobody there to change the shot, and then a good move by Steve Kerr after he was taken off the 3-point opportunity to step in for the 2.
Final seconds, first half. Smith. Rebounded by Smith, but time run out. So at the half, sparked by Scottie Pippen with 18, the Bulls by 30. Shot to the Hawks, probably very fortunate they are this close as we head to the third quarter. Look at the Miller Lite halftime statistics. The Bulls from 2-point range, 17 of 28. Overall, 58% shooting. 4 from downtown, all by Scottie Pippen, who leads the way with 18 points.
And Scottie Pippen, 6 for 8, came out of the block red hot. from beyond the arc, getting the three going, and then starting to take the ball to the basket.
And the Atlanta Hawks getting much of their scoring at the foul line. 16 of 20 overall. They shot just 31%. 4 of 11 from downtown. And Mookie Blaylock continues to struggle.
Well, just 3 out of 9 for Mookie, and the tight defense on him, especially in pick and roll situations. The Hawks ran 13 of them only scored 4.
And off the boards, Atlanta has out-rebounded Chicago, 19-14 overall, led by Leitner with 7. Let's check in with Ahmad Rashad.
All right, thanks, Mark. Phil Jackson told his team at halftime, not a lot, but told them they got to stay with their offense. And also told them they had too many second shots they were giving up to Atlanta. Lenny Wilkins, more concerned, told his team they came out very lackadaisical. They aren't getting back on defense, too many uncontested layups, but they've been in a situation like this before. They got to come out strong in the third quarter. Mark?
All right, Ahmad. The Bulls with a 20-point blowout of the Hawks here in Atlanta yesterday afternoon to take a 2-1 lead and seeking to return to Chicago for Game 5 on Tuesday, up 3-1, while the Atlanta Hawks are looking to turn things around in the second half to even up the series at 2.
Well, this is the first time to start the second half in this series that the Bulls have been ahead, and it's Chicago has had to dig down defensively. We'll see if the Atlanta Hawks are able to muster up the defense. They've been a good defensive team all along because of Mookie Blaylock's pressure on the perimeter and Dikembe Mutombo inside.
Well, they had to reset the clock, so a do-over. Pippen once again comes out of the backcourt. Pippen, Harper, Jordan, Caffey, and Longley on the floor for the Bulls. It's the lineup that Phil Jackson started. Dennis Rodman again used sparingly in the first half. Pippen thought he was fouled by Corbin. Steve Smith just 1 of 6 from the field. Shot clock rolling down. It's at 5. Blaylock and Longley with the box out.
Well, a lot of movement, a lot of motion there, but not really coming up with any kind of execution, and then having to settle for another 4 shot. The Chicago defense continues to challenge just about every shot.
Jordan's pass was broken up by Mutombo, and last touch by Caffey. Smith coming off the screen. Corbin keeps it alive. The tip. So the Chicago lead is now 11.
That's 6 offensive rebounds for Christian Leitner, and I saw the look of disgust on Phil Jackson's faces. Both Caffey and Longley standing flat-footed, not getting up after those rebounds.
Caffey setting the pick. Now Pippen played on the switch by Mutombo. Shoots over him. Good job by Caffey. And able to save it. Mutombo staying on Pippen. Caffey's pass broken up. And the save by Corbin.
Well, the Hawks defense is there. They are digging in. The big fella right now is trying to convert at the offensive end.
Mutombo off the head fake and drew the foul. That is number 4 on Luke Longley.
Well, Atlanta does not want this to happen. What happened yesterday when the Bulls really turned it up, starting with the third quarter? This was the bad shooting by Leitner, Mutombo. Steve Smith couldn't hit anything, and Mookie Blaylock was swarmed all over.
Hawks with only 8 field goals in the second half yesterday, outscored 54-28. That was the worst half in Atlanta's playoff history. Well, Atlanta now 16 of 21 at the foul line. Dikembe 3 of 5, has just 1 field goal. Bulls by 11. Caffey looks to add to that. Jason Caffey beat the Hawks down court, and Lenny Wilkins very upset about that transition defense.
Oh, and the reason was Dikembe Mutombo just backpedaling, drifting backwards. His man is Jason Caffey, obviously disconcerted, thinking about something else, and the Bulls took advantage of him. Mutombo just skipping backwards, not seeing the ball, not seeing his man. Here's Dikembe Mutombo way too late as Jason Caffey way ahead as the Bulls alert on that particular play. But the Hawks defense has been very stingy to start this third quarter with the exception of that play. Now that was the one thing Dikembe Mutombo was upset with his team yesterday, other than they thought they quit. They felt that they were a lot of times arguing with the officials when they didn't get a call they wanted and didn't hustle back on defense. He was the culprit there.
9.5 remaining in the third quarter. Good pass from Leighton. Corbin not able to convert. And then Corbin came from out of bounds. And a foul is called. It's on Mutombo. For Mutombo, that is number 4.
Nice slip inside as Tyrone Corbin hearing the footsteps of Luke Longley. And then, as trying to save that ball, kind of whipped at Ron Harper to knock him out of the way.
Shot clock down to 6. Longley getting down deep. And Mutombo stepped away, did not go for the block, now playing with a 4 foul.
And Luke much more aggressive on that trip as he has been today, making his rolls to the basket, making his cuts into the lane, looking for the ball, looking to try to score.
Bulls now have a 15-point lead. Leitner. Get to that loose ball. Here's Smith. No ball movement by the Hawks. Just popping from the perimeter.
They seem to have lost all their confidence at the offensive end. None of the shots look good leaving their hand. They just can't seem to get in the play. And it was the pick and roll play that was so good to them in games 1 and 2 of this series.
Jordan feeling for Smith. Running up short. Then a loose ball foul. It's on Longley. Well, tomorrow night, the NBA playoffs continue on TNT. East-West doubleheader followed by Inside the NBA. That's tomorrow night. Luke Longley committing his 5th foul in 15 minutes of play and replaced by Brian Williams, who has emerged as an important man in this series. Caffey's done a good job on Leitner. Here's Smith. Steve Smith continues to struggle. Nice play by Harper. And was trying to get the timeout, but apparently it was not accepted. He had landed and did not indicate until he hit the floor. So the Hawks maintain possession. Mutombo hanging in with the 4 fouls. Here's Blaylock over. The poor shooting by the Hawks continues in this third quarter. Leitner and Corbin away. Blaylock. Ball was knocked out of bounds by Atlanta. Atlanta 1 of 10 from the field here in the third.
In yesterday's second half, the combination Mookie Blaylock and Steve Smith 1 for 12 and not much better in the first half. 4 for 15 as neither of the 2 key guards and 2 key scorers unable to get it going.
Pippen fouled. Alan Henderson called for his 3rd foul. 6:59 remaining in the third. Timeout taken. Back at the Omni in Atlanta, the Hawks having major problems once again. In the third quarter, they have hit only 1 of 10 from the field. For the game, they're shooting just under 27%, 12 for 45. While the Bulls at 56% shooting, led by Scottie Pippen, who now has 19 points.
And it's the Hawks have actually become stagnant, whether it's going inside to Leitner or Mutombo, or trying Smith in a certain post-up position, or Mookie Blaylock on the pick and rolls, and they're not really getting enough movement. When they get some penetration to the basket, they get at least a good-looking shot and then a good second shot opportunity, but not enough penetration to the basket.
Chicago has led by as many as 20 points. They're up now by 16. Blaylock played well by Hoffer once again. Did the job yesterday in game 3. Here's Smith. Would have been a 24-second violation. Steve Smith is now 1 for 10 from the field. And Pippen misfired on that pass. Miscommunication that time with Caffey and Pippen.
But a terrific sequence of defense on the last possession for Atlanta by Pippen. Helped out on Mookie Blaylock. Got back and forced a tough shot from the post-up play of Steve Smith.
And Leitner lost it. It has been just awful play here by Atlanta in the third quarter. Halfway through, and the Bulls leading 60-44. Jordan with some, yes. Michael Jordan with 15. And the Bulls have an 18-point advantage.
And Lenny just stood up in front of the Hawk bench and they called for some motion. They're just still running another set play here, but they got to get some movement and spread the defense of Chicago out.
We saw the ball movement. Corbin not able to hit, though. Leitner fires one up. Corbin looking for position. Blocked by Hopper. And it will be Chicago ball. The Hawks are now 1 for 14 from the field in this third quarter. Remember the word vulnerable that was used earlier this week regarding the Chicago Bulls?
How about horrible as far as offense for Atlanta? Look at that. 5 for 23 inside. So plenty of second shot opportunities for Atlanta, but they're just flinging the ball up. And so many opportunities because there's so many missed shots.
And no box out. Jason Caffey extends to a 20-point lead. The Hawks not only 1 for 14 in this third quarter, they've missed their last 10 shots. Leitner for 3. Smith off the fake. Blaylock for 3. And finally, Atlanta converts. They missed 11 in a row. The Bulls lead 64-47. 4.5 left in this third quarter. Shot clock at 5. Hopper for 3. And a loose ball foul. It is called on the Bulls. It's on Brian Williams. A look at the lineup tonight. Third Rock and Kine Cup. And is following Atlanta and Chicago. And here's Brian Williams to the open floor.
I was just watching the Chicago coaching staff trying to figure out what Brian Williams had in mind there. He saw lots of open spaces and had his head down a little bit, had to dribble going, but it was just a matter of time before Mookie Blaylock caught up with him. And Phil Jackson not happy with that particular play.
And here's Robert Parrish checking back in, replacing Brian Williams. Williams leaves after picking up a 4th foul. So Parrish on the front line with Jordan on the inbound. It counts in the foul. Steve Smith called for his third foul.
Well, all the talk of the Hawks having a lot of confidence, and they should have, after almost winning game one in this series, winning convincingly, or I should say in fine fashion in game two, and other than the first half yesterday, have not shown the confidence because the ball's not going in the basket. But really, there is that tendency to not do it at the defensive end. They started out in this third quarter with some defensive effort, and now they've lost it once again.
Yeah, this is a Chicago Bulls team that won 69 games during the regular season, but ended by losing 3 of the last 4, losing to Detroit and Miami and New York. First round of the playoffs, they were not sharp, although they swept Washington. Smith lost it. Caffey tried to save the pass. Michael Jordan upset with himself. He knows he overthrew.
I've been watching off the ball Scottie Pippen at the other end, and again, because he has gotten off offensively in this game, that's 19 points. Defensively, he has been outstanding, and there he is again.
Pippen with the block. Caffey able to protect. Pippen for 3. And the long rebound handled by Pippen. The travel, Pippen was fouled by Henderson.
Here's Scottie Pippen not only out with Steve Smith, but realizing that Mookie Blaylock had that path to the basket coming over and blocked the shot. But this is textbook defense, individual man-to-man. This is why this man is a perennial member of the all-defensive team. Banging his man, bending his knees, sliding his feet, just playing very tough defense.
And Pippen 4 of 5 at the line. He now has 20 points.
There's Scottie Pippen, red hot from 3-land in that first game, also shooting it well in the second game. Then going ice cold yesterday. Did score the 17 points, but couldn't get it going from the perimeter, and then came out today red hot from outside. 4 out of 5 in the first half from beyond the arc.
And Michael Jordan getting a rest. 17 points, 6 rebounds for Jordan. Bulls have outscored the Hawks 13-5 here in this third quarter. Smith missed on that rebound attempt. They will jump it up to Kempe Mutombo and Robert Parrish on the tie-up. Atlanta is now 2 for 19 from the field in this third quarter. One stretch they missed 11 in a row. The Bulls lead by 21. Well, this is the finale of our playoff triple-header today. We were preceded by 2 tightly contested games. A different story here tonight. Parrish tried to save it. And Lieutenant Salvatore with the whistle. And apparently it was knocked out of bounds. It will be Atlanta ball. Parrish not able to make the save. Timeout taken. We'll be right back. Jackson, in a unique contract circumstance, has a clause in his soon-to-expire contract which allows him to talk to any team not involved in the playoffs at this point. Of course, he could re-sign with Chicago. Where do things stand with Phil? We asked him about it.
We're up 2-1 against Atlanta, and that's where my focus is right now. Trying to be straight ahead. It's real tough. I have to be honest that it's, I'm caught in some very tempting things that are going on, but my focus has to be directly involved with the Bulls right now. Michael's, at the edge of his career. He's talking about loyalty. Scottie's a free agent here next year. We're looking at what's going to happen with him. There's a lot of things that are pulling at the strings of unity in this ball club, and I feel if I join in that, disconnectedness that might happen, we might come apart if we don't really stay focused as to what our direction. Dennis, doing whatever he's doing in the outside world has somehow or other pulled the cohesiveness that we've been able to build over the course of a year and a half or 2. So we really need to pull it back together.
Well, Phil Jackson mentioned at this point in the series, it's 2-1 Chicago, and it's probably 2-1 that he stays in Chicago.
Oh, Matt establishing the Gucas odds. 2:45 remaining in the third quarter. Leitner, a rare field goal for the Hawks in this third quarter. They are now 3 of 20 from the field. Bulls 69 and the Hawks 49. Parrish, Caffey, and Kukoc now up front with Harper and Pippen at the guards. Pippen being played by Smith. Nice pass. Parrish blocked by Leitner. So the Bulls will have 4 on the 24-second clock.
Scottie Pippen with the live body today at both ends of the floor, coming off the pick and roll situation, clears the pick and does not waste any motion, making the one-hand John Stockton type of pass, getting it right to Robert Parrish. You know, Scottie Pippen did not play at all in the fourth quarter yesterday when it was still a game, and that is unusual.
Dennis Rodman is back and goes right to the short jump shot. Dennis Rodman played briefly in the first half, 6 minutes. That was his first shot attempt, had 1 rebound. Leitner, Rodman tried to draw the foul. Rodman committed 3 fouls in the 6 minutes of play in that first half. Crowd urging Rodman to throw up the shot. Pippen does. Scottie Pippen, the high point man, with 24. Bulls lead 71-49 in a rout with 1.5 minutes left in the third. James tried to set up a pick and roll, and it did not work. Kukoc from Harper. It has all gone wrong in every phase of the game for the Atlanta Hawks.
And Henry James, the only man back on defense because he was the closest to the ball, but the other 4 Hawks just stood in the backcourt and bent over, did not make any kind of effort to get back.
This is one of those games Steve Smith will not want to talk about or remember. 1 of 12 from the field for Smith. Shot clock at 7. Coach bottled up. Matumbo on the steal. Blaylock chased by Harper. 73-51 Chicago.
Now, one of the big reasons why Steve Smith is having trouble scoring from the field, a big part of his game is posting up. And with Pippen on him much of the game and last game, very hard to do.
It has been a magnificent all-around game for Scottie Pippen. 26 points now, 75-51 Bulls. Blaylock. Final seconds of the third quarter. Oh, Rodman run into by Smith. And a foul. Steve Smith called for that foul.
Well, at the defensive end for Chicago, Rodman all tied up with Leitner banging him, and he's just looking to pop anybody with a white shirt on. Saw that Smith had no idea where he was, got over, established his position, and of course put on a little bit of an acting job. Dennis has become a movie star, you know. He did get hit, but I'm sure he didn't get hit that hard.
Rodman just a 57% free throw shooter, and obviously not a player who goes to the line frequently. Now Smith sits down. Eldridge Rakashner is back. Only 4 seconds left in the third. And Rodman following up on the rebound, which led to some heavy traffic, and again a foul.
And took another opportunity to pop Christian Leitner.
That is number 4 on Dennis Rodman. For the Bulls, their first team foul in these final 2 minutes. There's Blaylock trying to race it down, and he's fouled. They had the foul to give, so only 0.6 of a second remaining in the quarter.
So even with the 22-point lead for Chicago, playing the percentage and playing smart basketball, so that way when that situation occurs, you're always in the habit of making the right play.
Leitner got it out. So making 5 of 25 shooting for the Hawks. In this third quarter, they're outscored 20-11 by Chicago. Bulls lead by 22. After 3, you are watching the NBA on NBC. 16,000 plus at the Omni in Atlanta, but a good portion of this crowd has not enjoyed what they have seen. Chicago outscoring Atlanta 20-11 in the third. Bulls have had the big lead throughout and are up now 75 53 as this fourth quarter gets underway.
It's almost as if the Bulls realized how good a defensive effort they played starting with the second half of yesterday's game, and came right into this one saying, hey, why don't we just keep doing the same thing? It seems to work.
How about Steve Smith, who is sitting down now? Kastner hits a three. Smith 1 for 12 today, and 1 for his last 19 going back to that second half yesterday. I wonder if he's ever had that kind of streak. A good question for you to ask him, Matt, after the game. A three-point attempt going astray. And back comes for Kastner.
I want to ask him about the 1 assist.
Yes, he did conclude the drought in that area. Mutombo coming up short. And Hugh Hollins with the call that was last touched by Chicago.
Off the back of the backboard. So fresh 24.
Leitner, Mutombo, and James up front. Blaylock and Recasner in the back. Recasner fires away again. Oh, Mutombo and Rodman had words. Joe DeRosa calling double technicals. Well, they got involved earlier.
Double technicals.
Well, Dennis Rodman had been committing fouls, but no technicals to this point, in an effort to box out Mutombo, getting that arm up, and then the little extra shove. And now the double technical fouls. That's the second time in this series these two have come together for double technicals.
Last time, Rodman slapped away the finger, the wagging finger of Mutombo following a blocked shot. Minute and a half gone by in the fourth quarter. Hawks have come out with some energy. Leitner, it counts. No, it does not. At first, it appeared the indication was the basket would count, but it was before the shot attempt.
Now Dennis Rodman hooking up with Christian Leitner, fouling as the arms and elbows get up. And I can tell Phil Jackson on the Chicago bench, he's talking to the referees, claiming that Dennis Rodman's getting elbow. But I think Phil is more concerned that Dennis might do something to ignite this Hawk team. Not that it might do anything today, but might help them for the next game. And that's why he's going to the bench.
Rodman picking up his 5th foul and replaced by Brian Williams. James for 3. 16-point Chicago lead. Michael Jordan back on the floor. Randy Brown handling against Mookie Blaylock. Jordan trying to post up on Recasner. Now facing the double team. Kukoc. So the Bulls have gone cold here at the start of the fourth. Brown looking for the steal. Hawks feel Recasner has the hot hand. He's been looking for the shot every time he's touched the ball, and he drew the foul. 8-0 run by the Hawks. Foul committed by Kukoc. Timeout taken with 9:36 left in the fourth.
Miller Genuine Draft presents a classic moment of the NBA at 50.
Today we look back at a playoff record equaled by Mookie Blaylock. Indiana against Atlanta, Game 3, last year's Eastern Conference first round, and Mookie stole a victory from the Pacers, 8 steals in the game, and that tied the record set 6 other times. In recognition of this classic moment, Miller Beer will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. They call him the Glove of the East, and his acquisition by Atlanta was a steal. Acquired for Ramil Robinson back in 1992. This is his 5th season as a member of the Hawks.
To make room for more playing time for Kenny Anderson in New Jersey. Ahmad Rashad reporting during that timeout that at the quarter break, Phil Jackson very upset with his team for being lackadaisical winding down the third quarter and losing their edge. But I'm sure Lenny Wilkens talking to his team despite the very, very poor performance so far, looking up at the clock and the score saying, hey, if we can get this thing down about 10, 11, or 12 with 6 minutes to go and get hot from threes, anything can happen.
Well, here's a steal by Castner. Oh, to the stroke and blew it cleanly.
Well, I don't know if he changed his mind there, thinking Michael Jordan was going to challenge this shot, but it looked like Rick Kasner was going to be able just to lay this up, and just that little stunt by Michael Jordan made him try to dunk it and airball it.
That was a whiff. And Rick Kasner's had the hot hand. It's a 9-0 run by Atlanta. Eldred Rick Kasner with 7 of those 9 points. Kukoc. Oh, beautiful adjustment. Going glass. So that ends the Atlanta run. Just under 9 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. And a foul, a pushing foul. It is on Kukoc. That is his second. Bulls lead 77-60. It's a non-shooting affair. And James puts it in play. Lenny Wilkens going with a couple of shooters, particularly with Steve Smith. He has James and Rick Kasner on the floor.
And what that does is help spread the floor, because defensively you have to honor their capability from beyond the arc, and that could give a guy like Blaylock or Rick Kasner some driving to the basket opportunities.
Brian Williams setting the pick. Michael Jordan does not use it. And a hand check foul. Basket will not count. Foul on James.
Henry
James telling Michael Jordan that it was not a foul. Michael disagreeing.
That was a very light hand touch, if at all. Hand check.
Forearm. 4 minutes gone by in the fourth. Caffey and Mutombo reaching for that rebound. Only 6 rebounds for Kembe. He's been in foul trouble throughout. Blaylock. Oh, wide open lane and blew the layup. Brian Williams. And now a 3-second violation. The Hawks felt should have been called earlier on Brian Williams.
Well, the opening play of the game, Mookie Blaylock came down and drove right to the basket and almost missed the first shot of the game, a layup, but he got the lucky roll there. But this is just the kind of day it's been for the Atlanta Hawks and Mookie Blaylock, and that's just a little bit of a loss of concentration, taking his eye off the target.
This is game 4 of the Eastern Conference Semifinal Series. Hawks hoping to go up 3-1. The Hawks would need a dramatic turn here in the fourth quarter to tie this series at 2. That's number 5 by Brian Williams. Game 5 at the United Center in Chicago on Tuesday. If necessary, game 6 in Atlanta on Thursday, and if necessary, game 7 back in Chicago on Sunday. Game 6 is not necessary to be played. This would be the Hawks' last appearance in this goal. Kastner with the air ball. New building will be constructed, and the Hawks will be playing elsewhere for the next couple of years. They'll be constructing it on this site. Offensive foul. And that's number 6 on Brian Williams. Brian Williams with a display in the direction of some fans over at the far side.
Well, that was the particular move. Not that one. I guess he's got a bad left shoulder or something there. But that move yesterday coming across the lane was so effective, even against the taller, outstanding defender Dikembe Mutombo. But Brian Williams was able to get some offense going. That time just a good defensive play by Leitner to beat him to the spot.
I think Brian stretched it out a second time to give the indication that that first move was just a stretch of the arm. Leitner Christian Leitner with 13 points, but 6 of 19 from the field. 77-62 Chicago. Luke Longley has returned. Ryan Williams out on fouls. Luke is playing with 5. Jordan. Oh, what a move by Michael Jordan. He has 19, along with 6 rebounds and 4 assists. Rekastner. Eldridge Rekastner, one-time member of the Houston Rockets, has also spent time with Denver. He's played in Turkey in the CBA. 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Kerr. Jordan contesting with Mutombo on that rebound. Rekastner on the pull-up. He can shoot. He has 9 points. And Phil Jackson calls for time.
Well, Michael Jordan on a spectacular move, taking it up on the right side, hanging in the air, going for the reverse in almost what you might call a typical Michael Jordan play.
Shot, another solid performance by the supporting cast of the Chicago Bulls. Kukoc with 9, Caffey 8. Williams had just fouled out with 7 points. They helped turn things around in the second half in Game 3 here yesterday afternoon. Longley was looking for Bushler along the baseline. Jordan had to adjust that shot with Leitner all over him. Michael, you got the ideas. Had a real fun day here.
I've never seen him smile so many times after not only made shots, but even when he's been hit on the arm. But during that timeout, once again, Phil Jackson getting all over his team for their lack of execution offensively. Michael just hanging in the air for the extra second or so to wait for Christian Leitner to go by, as North Carolina loves to do it to those guys from Duke.
Foul on Bushler, putting the Duke man, Christian Leitner, at the line. 14 points for Leitner.
With about 6.5 minutes to go in this fourth quarter, the Hawks had 2 opportunities to cut the deficit from 15 to 13, and a missed dunk attempt by Eldridge Rekastner and a missed layup by Mookie Blaylock.
Bulls now lead 81-66. Steve Smith is back on the floor. Lenny Wilkins going with the 3 guards, Smith, Rekastner, and Blaylock. Traveling violation.
And he did. He shuffled the feet as Steve Smith got switched on a delay of game warning against the Chicago Bulls. And by Steve Smith giving ground, not letting Luke Longley fall, Luke kept leaning back, trying to feel some defensive pressure. Never got it and shuffled the feet.
Hawks have outscored the Bulls here in the fourth quarter, 13-6. But it has not mattered. Chicago able to maintain the commanding lead up by 15. Jordan has a mismatch, wanted the ball against Blaylock. Pippen thought he was fouled. And the reach-in is called on Pippen. Bulls are over the foul limit. Look at the 3 top offensive threats for Atlanta. Poor shooting by all. 6 of 21 for Leitner. 6 of 17 for Blaylock. And Steve Smith, as we've been discussing, 1 of 12. And it gets worse if you go back to the second half yesterday.
And Christian Leitner started this game out by looking for shots from the perimeter, and he is a good outside shooter, but all the shots that he has taken on the inside have been rushed, off balance, and forced, and that's how you're going to shoot 6 for 21.
In this fourth quarter, Eldridge Rekastner has accounted for 11 of Atlanta's 15 points. 81-68. Chicago with the lead and the ball with 4 minutes remaining in the fourth. Jordan. The Mutombo rebound. illegal defense. Again, called on Chicago. That is their 4th violation.
And this one on Luke Longley, sensing that Judd Bushler in a little bit of trouble over there in a one-on-one situation with Steve Smith, started to get into the lane and help out as Dikembe Mutombo was raised up above the tip of the circle.
Well, Smith has maintained the good touch, though, at the foul line. He's now 10 of 11. And Ron Harper checking in.
Returning for Chicago, number 9, Ron Harper, number 35, Jason Caffey.
So Harper and Caffey replace Kerr and Bushler. The Hawks have cut it down to 12. Blaylock. Wow. Atlanta is very much into it. Bulls have led by as many as 22. Jordan. Rebound, Leitner. Coming up on 3 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. Hawks have outscored the Bulls 18-6 here in the 4th. Shot clock at 6. Leitner. Rebound converted by Mutombo.
And the Hawks have been in this situation before in a regular season game about a month or so ago against the Orlando Magic. Down by 16 with about a minute and a half to go. Down by 10 with 48 seconds, coming back to force overtime.
Foul is called as Jordan was taken down by Ricasner. In that game against the Nets, the Hawks were down by 19 after 3 quarters and won it. And they came back from 10 to beat Orlando in the final minutes. We'll be back in a moment.
Hawks have closed to within 8 of the Chicago Bulls. Chicago very perimeter oriented right now, and you see all the shots in the paint area that the Hawks have had and unable to convert. And you can't forget those 2 layups, one by Blaylock, one by Ricasner, that were right there for them.
It is extraordinary that Atlanta is in this game shooting only 29%. Michael Jordan with a big bucket. He now has 23, and it extends to an 83-73 lead. Leitner, nice goal. The Bulls led by 22 after 3 quarters. But the Bulls have shot poorly in the second half. Chicago kind of lulled into what has taken place. Atlanta able to chip away, led by Eldridge Ricasner. Shot clock at 5. Harper for 3. Harper looking to save it, ran into the official. Bennett Salvatore not able to make the save. With the ball back to Atlanta with a minute and 40 remaining in the 4th.
And the interior Chicago defense has gotten very soft right now with Tony Kukoc playing the big forward position. Leitner wants the ball.
Oh, traveling violation.
Christian Leitner wanting the ball, feeling he can score on Kukoc. Tony gives some ground. Wow, what walk. He did maybe change the pivot foot there. Looked like his right foot was the initial pivot foot.
Oh, the rejection of Pippen. Here's Smith for 3. Yes. Steve Smith only 1 for his previous 12. Able to hit to bring the Hawks within 5. A minute 10 remaining in the 4th quarter. Man of defense, Jordan in trouble. Hawks looking for a timeout. Called a traveling violation. Called by Hugh Hollins on Michael Jordan.
Well, the Hawks have had fouls to give over the last minute or so they can afford to be very aggressive, to reach in there, try to get some steals, and if they don't get it, commit the foul, no harm done. But they were able to force the walk there.
Imagine what the thoughts are of Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan. Leitner is able to hit. Some history of controversial calls made by Hugh Hollins against the Chicago Bulls. 3-point game. The Bulls led by as many as 22. And Leitner giving the foul. It is only the 13th foul. Now the first in the last 2 minutes. On Atlanta, the Bulls are already over the foul limit. And the Bulls take a timeout. 43 and 4/10 seconds to go in this fourth quarter. Atlanta has come storming back. They've outscored the Bulls in the fourth, 27-8.
Scottie Pippen getting the driving opportunity, and no, Dikembe Mutombo knocking out his third shot of the game, leading to the three-point shot. Steve Smith, second of the game, so a 5-point turnaround there, and there you see it, 83-80.
Atlanta with a 16-2 run. They've outscored the Bulls 27-8. Oh, look out. Jordan taken down by Rakashner. Kastner had his hand on the jersey of Jordan.
Well, no surprise that Michael Jordan getting the ball in his hands, the head fake, getting Rakashner up in the air, and then had his move to the floor, pulled Jordan down on top of him. Lucky nobody was hurt there.
Jordan only 1 of 3 at the line. Chicago with 2 timeouts and at 20. Atlanta with 3 left. Well, coming up next, except on the West Coast, a special all-new hour of Third Rock from the Sun. Then at 9, 8 Central, Jean-Claude Van Damme enforcing the laws of time. The network television premiere of Time Cop on NBC tonight.
Phil Jackson making 2 defensive substitutions here, getting Ron Harper in for Steve Kerr, and then Judd Bushler in for Tony Kukoc, who had all kinds of trouble trying to guard Christian Leitner inside. Now, Judd Bushler is about 6'6", a tough defender, but that's a tough cover for him, trying to watch Leitner around the basket.
So Jordan hits the clutch free throws, extending the Chicago lead to 5 points. With 40 seconds left in the fourth, Atlanta takes a timeout. Scottie Pippen in a discussion with the Bulls' favorite official, Hugh Hollins, who made that critical call for traveling on Michael Jordan. That is Jordan directing the words to Hugh Hollins. The Bulls with only 30 points in the second half. That would be a team record for fewest in a half. They lead by 5. We're down to 35 seconds remaining. Dennis Rodman is back in, got a piece of that ball. And then Harper fouled by Smith. Both clubs are over the limit. That appears to be one of those cases where the Chicago Bulls are up by 22 going to this fourth quarter, went to sleep. They were lulled by the ineffectiveness of the Atlanta Hawks. Not to give the Hawks proper credit, but I think they felt that the Hawks had I won't say quit the way Mutombo did yesterday, but perhaps phoned it in, thought it was all over. And then Rakashner got hot, and the Hawks were able to chip away and made it a game down the stretch.
Well, I think Phil Jackson definitely saw it coming at the end of the third quarter. He was constantly on his team to get them to keep playing their game. And what happens so much is you're always playing against your opponent. In many cases, a great team like Chicago, you have to play against yourself sometime. You have to forget about what the score is or what the other thing. Just keep doing the right things. But on the other hand, Lenny Wilkins, I'm sure, was telling his team that just hang around. If we can cut it down. They miss a shot, we make a shot, who knows?
So the Bulls lead by 7 with 30 and 4/10 seconds to go in this fourth quarter. We'll be back after these words from your local station. Trailing by 7, 30 seconds to go. If the Bulls can hang on, they will take a 3-1 lead in this best of 7 with Game 5 Tuesday back in Chicago. The Hawks desperately trying to tie the series after a steal by Jordan. And Michael Jordan extends to an 89-80 lead. 27 for Jordan. Laylock for 3. So the Bulls will go up 3-1. The way this third quarter got underway, I should say the second half got underway, I don't think anyone thought that it would have been a battle down the stretch, but it turned out to be just that. Bulls led by 22 after 3. The Hawks close to 83-80 with 43 seconds left, but the Bulls with a rush able to pull it out, led by Jordan with 27 and Pippen with 26. Again, the final, Bulls 89, Hawks 80. Now, except on the West Coast, we take you directly to an all-new Third Rock from the